Look around. Society is in disarray. People are crying out for leadership and they need you to help them see the path forward. They need you to help them illuminate the darkness so that they know how to get out of the desert. Because right now they are lost. They are lost, wandering alone, and they are thirsty. They are thirsty for something good. They are thirsty for something that will quench their thirst and will leave them satisfied and fulfilled. That will leave them feeling whole, not disparate, disconnected, and empty. Look around. The level of disease and mental health, mental illness problems in our society it's a lot. There's a lot going on, and I believe, and this is my view, and I think I am right, that the ideology of scientism, one moment, the ideology of scientism has given rise to materialism, which is to say that there is a world that exists where the subjective has no say, where there is no input from the subjective, because science is all about removing the subjective. And what do I mean by the subjective? By subjective, I mean values, right and wrong. Satan has a very different idea of right and wrong is. So pedophiles, murderers, example. Catholics have a very different idea of what is right and wrong. So when you live in a society where a society that thinks the only things that matter is the material, there is no spiritual element. This is a society that will produce insane levels of technological sophistication and technological supremacy. This is true. However, at what cost? There is an equation here. The level of technological sophistication comes at a price. Now, what is that price, may you ask? That price is social cohesion and the quality of the social fabric. The social fabric being that the social operating system that enables society to combine and work in unison as a group. Technology has ripped society apart and has given rise to things like the Rainbow Mafia. And the Rainbow Mafia, the pride ideology, the devil worshippers, they think that there's no such thing as a hierarchy and everything's the same and there's no such thing as right and wrong, and therefore they pushing evil things, which I really do not want to name. People are crying out for leadership. They're lost because the world is so confusing. When you live under the dominion of scientism and materialism, it's hard to know what to do because science tells you the facts, but it doesn't tell you what to do with the facts. We have all this information and yet we're more stupid than ever. How does that make any sense? Just because you have information does not mean you know how to structure it properly. Humans, in order for us to get to this where we are in the West, our Western society, it required us to endure millennia of hardship, trial, and tribulation, and distill wisdom down that was passed down through religions and eventually eventuated into the collective books that it contained within the Bible. And the Bible contains the essence, the distilled essence of wisdom that is so incomprehensible to the rational mind, which is why it is told in story about how to live in the world. And this knowledge, and this is not scientific, no, this is phenomenological, this is experiential, this is wisdom. Science has nothing to say on wisdom. This is wisdom, and this wisdom enabled the very technological sophistication that you are now experiencing. And unfortunately, the technological sophistication that is now ripping society apart. But this ripping apart is not inevitable, no. It's not inevitable. The technological sophistication has been misused. If we had strong moral virtue, the technological sophistication wouldn't be a problem because we would know how to properly wield it. But the more we focus on the material, that which we can taste, touch, smell, and see, what we can measure, is the degree to which we are ignoring morality. the right and wrong, good and evil. And I think this is where we are heading. We are heading to a state of utter chaos. Look at New York City, for example, and other places in the United States. When chaos ensues, the only thing that can order this chaos is the good. And we are seeing a Christian resurgence. The good. Christianity is all about rescuing, is all about saints leading enslaved people out of the tyranny of some dictator and then into the desert, because you can't just go from tyranny to the promised land. You have to go from tyranny to the desert and then properly order that desert, the chaos, into a habitable structure again, a walled city, if you will. This is why humans, we live in story, because the level of information required and that is required to not only possess but understand is incomprehensible. And so when we tell stories, stories encapsulate more information than we could possibly hope to communicate in a rational scientific way, which is why scientism, one of the reasons why scientism ultimately fails, because scientism not only makes simple things more difficult to communicate because of the level of detail, but it also lacks the ability to tie those things in with other things and how they relate. It's all about segregation and isolation. And also it has no answer for morality. And fundamentally, the human experience is a moral experience. And if you do not have the answer for morality, that is not an ideology that can order society successfully across time. And we are seeing the effects of this now. This has been going on for decades and decades and decades. It's just gotten to a point. It's gotten to an inflection point where we've hit a threshold and there's no going back. The financial system is literally crumbling. Once that goes, scientism is going out the window. People need leadership. They're crying out for leadership. They're lost, wandering alone in the desert, and they need you to be their shepherd. How can you be their shepherd? You need to show them the light. You need to shine the light in the darkness with your good so that the people may know the path to walk. But you can only do this once you've shone the light on the darkness in your own life and led yourself to the path of the good. The light will always triumph over the evil and the darkness. God bless. Peace.